So a little bit about me. I, as Emma mentioned, I've been in the industry for a while, probably 3 or 4 years. I fell in love for solving problems because I like to travel all around the world, and I happen to discover that each culture has its own unique way to approach or see the world and collaborate together to solve unique issues. And also, yes, I've been involved in particular competitions like NASA, where I won second place in robotics. Also, I've been involved in entertainment industry, where I work with actors and actresses and see like how the design around like making TVs or movies works. I've been kind of doing a little bit of everything, but currently I'm working for WG Labs, which is kind of like a consulting company for educational technology. And we create educational tech for people of lower income population or adult learners. It really varies in the challenge, and sometimes we work with companies. Currently, I'm working with the Bill and Belinda Gates Foundation to address national issues in the United States. So some of that will be like, how do we create more accessible learning tools for Americans? Okay, so going back to the question, what do you think when you see the word design? We got beauty, designing clothes, marketing, creative, and yes, that's some of the most common answers. And a lot of people also think that it comes to web design or logos, it's more visual. And somebody did mention a process or a method, and I would like to to get to know why is it that is it Samiridi Jane? Why is it that you think first of a process or method? So he's sharing how to identify what and how, then build upon it. Okay, I think you're in the right direction with that thought, but it doesn't mean that visual design is also a wrong answer. So there's a difference. Let's see. So you meet my friend design thinking. There is a difference between design and design thinking. So yes, design thinking is actually the actual method. Design has like a long history. Like it started with art, and then it evolved to design thinking, meaning that it's a form to solve complex problems. And it's a method to understand how technology or services that companies provide helps consumers find information online. And as people working for a company, we try to find the most effective and not so costly solution for companies. And those solutions could work from really like helping users how to navigate in Google or sending a rocket to space. It really depends what your company goals are. Then, so so let's. So when I was at the University of Tokyo, I was really excited to learn about the Living Learning Lab, where we address a lot of design thinking for how do we make automation, how do we address that in robotics. And when I went outside of the university, I came to realize that companies saw design thinking as web design. So it was still like very visual, but to me it was kind of surprising because I thought like they have teams of designers who can actually like brainstorm solutions that are beyond visual design. Is that making sense? And and I want to pose the question to think through this presentation. What happens when you move from design to design thinking? You don't need to know the answer yet, but I hope you can understand that by the end of this. Okay, so you don't need to be a designer to use design thinking. You can be an engineer, you can be in business, you can be a student. As long as you have a very specific problem that you're trying to solve, you can utilize design thinking. And it doesn't have to be pretty. So how do you do that? And I know this slide looks tricky, but so I know we have business people, so I will try to speak a little bit of that language too. And then I know we have engineers and people trying to learn. So when it comes to design thinking, there are three main goals. We have how desirable it is, meaning like, what is it that people need? Like, what makes it attractive? And then feasibility, and this one, it's more like an engineering type of question, right? Like, how can we implement it so that it's effective? Because making a product or a service can be time consuming, and businesses really care about launching as soon as possible, especially like if you are in a smaller company or startups, like you have to come up with like very creative solutions so that you can start making profit. And also, like, what's your capability? Like, are you thinking of maybe there's a great solution, but is it really not possible because maybe it's too costly? And on the left, I have some methods. So if you want to learn what is it that people need, we conduct user research by creating like interviews or market research, and we gather that data. And then I have other recommendations. There's so many methods. So this is just one piece of the big puzzle. So if you have questions around like what might be a better method for your own use, feel free to ask me and I could provide some advice. All right, so now I want to show you some of the real world design thinking before I walk you through the whole process. So I want you to see how companies are using it and how they are being successful at it. So I'm going to share a new tab. So 1 second. Are there any questions so far? Okay, it seems like there may not be any questions yet. So I want to present you with one of my favorite problem solvers or company, which is Apple. Yes, I know some people don't like it and some people like it, but it's not about the product. If you think about it, they're just selling fonts, and they get really creative about like how they want to engage with the customer. And they have, as you can see on the center, they really want to highlight the brand Apple. Like that's the experience they want to get you. The colors are really vivid, and just things that don't belong to Apple, they just kind of gave them a plain design. But you know what was very interesting to me is that with the release of their product, like the iPhone 11, and I'm not advertising, I'm just trying to like help you understand how the business model kind of for them works. So with the iPhone 11, when you as a user, I found it iPhone 12, I find it pretty cool that they just have their products just at the top. So that's very usable for the person interacting with your website. Like they're making it as easy as possible to show, hey, we're selling fonts. Like this is their goal, sell a font. So they're making it really easy to like get to that. And I can be like, wow, we have a new font. And then we get the experience of like a movie. Like Apple spends so much money with designers to make this level of design. And not many companies like invest on that, but Apple really is like married to like creating a very unique experience, just selling you a phone. So here's one disadvantage of Apple website that to me was kind of frustrating as a user. It's scrolling, like never ends. You don't know at what point it's over. Like you just see fun and beautiful. Like it's very aesthetic, and that it's very true. Like they try to show you a solution. Like our product is water resistant. Our product, they show you solution after solution to sell you that phone. Like they really want to sell. But then it's like, it's forever. It's too long. But you know, it doesn't have to be beautiful to create sometimes successful business models. Amazon also invests a lot of money in design. You may not see it, but it's a lot of dark patterns. And by dark patterns, it's a design terminology to make you do something that they want you to do. It's more psychological. So the interface of Amazon, it's very simple but and not as aesthetic, but they use a lot of psychological triggers to make the person click buy. So when you see on Amazon buy now, you're like, oh sure, you don't they remove extra steps of putting your information, your address. Amazon just knows that, and people are just using Prime and buying, and Amazon continues to grow. Another website that this is from the UK, so if anyone from the UK knows this website, it's Link's car. So she's basically like breaking every single rule of design. Like it's not aesthetic. There's so much going on, but she did it herself. Like she started by herself and coded herself. And people really engage with her fun personality and very unique. So they wanted to go meet her because they're like, oh my God, you sell cars, but like she was selling her fun personality to attract customers to her business. And apparently people from the UK really enjoy that. And like she added very interesting things like fun stuff. And she added like a lot of random stuffs like missile truck. That was something that threw me off. And she sells cars and she's really like building from it. She was very smart about it. Like I said, it's not about the aesthetics. It's about like how you are addressing a problem. And honestly, I want to meet this girl because I want to ask her how did she become that successful for selling cars? So you can basically just pick one problem or product and really focus on like what that experience is gonna look like. Is there any questions so far? And I gotta stop sharing that screen. So I'm gonna go back to my slides. Let's see. All right. So with Apple, as I was walking through that, I just want to give you some quick overview. We have the usability component on their website. Then right away in that moment, they just show you the solution and then the product. So like there is a hierarchy here. And by hierarchy, it means designers conducted research to get to know what consumers or Apple buyers really want to know first. And that just happens throughout, a lot of companies, not just Apple. That's something that at least in the United States, I've seen more and more companies are adopting the user-centered design thinking. And with that, under that umbrella, it's user design thinking. So here's another example that you guys probably see. And now we're going to get to the fun part, which is we're going to try it together. So congratulations, Rakuten just hired you as a team to help them make more money. So Rakuten Web, if you guys are not familiar with Rakuten, let me know, but like Rakuten is trying to attract more consumers to easily find products. So we're going to do like 2 activities, and for that I will need Samu's help and one volunteer after him. So I would like to have a volunteer to come to stage with me. I know this may be a little bit scary, but I will walk you through this so you guys can learn what's a contextual inquiry. Hello. Thank you for volunteering. Is it Sammy Ridit?
I'm Red. You can call me Sam.
Oh, Sam. Okay. So thanks for volunteering. And is Japanese your native language?
No, it's
okay.
Hindi, but I mostly talk in English.
Okay. Did you know some Japanese, or can you read Japanese?
Yeah, I know some Japanese.
Okay. So imagine you are trying to shop in Rakuten.
Mm-hmm.
And so for people watching, Sam, please observe what might be some of the issues or things that are working really good with Rakuten and take notes. So Sam, there's no right or wrong answer with this website. We're not testing you, we're testing the website. So I'm going to give you a task and show me how would you solve that task, okay? So
all right.
Imagine you're trying to find black pants for yourself. Can you show me how would you go about it?
I will search the keyword black pants.
Black pants. Okay. And that's like in English, right? Black pants.
Depends. Like since I see Japanese more, I would search buraku pants.
Okay. Since I will just my translator really quick to write that because I don't have my Japanese keyboard. Let's see, black pants. Let's see, and this is not the whole katakana, and then I'm gonna click search. Okay. So Rakuten is not showing what you want to see.
Right.
Okay, what will you do since that's not what you're looking for?
Use filters or change the keyword and click
Okay.
on men's as well.
Maybe under men. Okay, so let's go back to main page. Let's see. Where are the filters? And this is tricky. Okay, where? Oh, okay. So maybe we have some filters here. Then I see. This is tricky, right, Samir? Or do you have any suggestions on where I should go?
It's very time inefficient, but
Yeah.
I would say searching just pants first, maybe in the keyword, and then kind of start filtering from there.
Okay.
Yeah, like the pants came, and then there's like the I think men's somewhere, but yeah,
here.
and then
Okay.
kind of go into black, and then there's like a kara, so we click black there, and then it'll start shortlisting from there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think if this was a little bit more intuitive, it would have been a little bit easier. But thank you for sharing that. And what we're doing right now with Samir, this is a form of early research on a product. So when you are in a company and let's say Rakuten says, hey, we want to measure how effective our website is when people are trying to buy. So if it's really hard to buy, it's really bad for the company. So as an employee, as a problem solver, you do this kind of little contextual inquiries where you observe how potential consumers use your product. And then after that, you go to Rakuten's business team and say, we noticed based on our research that people are having a really hard time finding something simple like pants. And yeah, so thank you so much, Sam, for volunteering. So please give him some round of applause because that's very brave. So that's something that I wanted to show around, like what's a contextual inquiry, and that's one of the methods to design thinking. So what we're going to do next is, as you guys notice, shopping for clothing is very tricky, time-consuming, and sometimes when you do buy for something, maybe it doesn't fit because maybe the instructions were wrong or the product description was not that good. So how can you help motivate Rakuten customers to shop for something that they will really like? Because that's, as a business, you care about making your customer happy. So in order to do that, we will use design thinking, and this is a process. It's really long, and there is no step-by-step how can I say, like there's no step one, step two. You have to be very critical thinker about what makes sense. So what we just did with the contextual inquiry is about observe. So this is me just observing as an employee how consumers are engaging with our product. And feel free to ask me questions about specific steps. It's such a long process. So I don't have the time to address every single one, but I love to talk about it. And as a team, we're gonna learn how to ideate, which is this yellow button or circle. Okay. So for your activity, you're gonna have one person who may be taking notes and put on one side what's working. So in the case of Apple example, I will feel like, well, it's working with the colors. They really make a strong brand name. they have a good level to read the product and understand what it's about. And then on the other side, you will write to improve or pain points. So to me, it was, or based on that research, it was endless scrolling. It's very hard to find payment information and limited distribution network, which means Apple doesn't sell in many places. Like it's really hard to get their funds, which could limit the revenue. But I could see, based on their model, why they don't want to do that. They want to limit to specific people. And then at the bottom, or anywhere that makes sense for you, please provide potential solutions or recommendations. And this area is for your business people, like that you try to communicate, saying, hey, Rakuten leadership, we noticed, or sorry, Apple leadership, we noticed that this is working, but this is also not very effective or time consuming. So here are my recommendations. We recommend for the researcher, blah, blah, blah. So we will try that. So Asama, please help me up setting some of the themes. This will require you to communicate and just write ideas. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's just to get creative. So yeah, and then we'll have somebody to present at the end. It's very interesting to see what people will come with solutions, and you guys will be doing Rakuten finding clothing.
I need you to make this on a piece of paper with a pencil or pen and draw the exact same thing, all right? The left side is what's working, and this is basically what Rakuten is doing right. And the right side is the improvement. So this is where you write what you think they could improve on. And after you work out with your team what's working and what to improve, in the bottom area, I want you to write your idea or solution that you think is gonna, improve it dramatically and improve sales for them. We'll ask one person from each offline team and also one person from team 1 to share their answers.
Hello.
All right, Sam.
Hi.
Thank you for coming up on stage. Would you please introduce what you guys discussed about?
So we opened up the Rakuten website and then kind of just searched black pants again, see how it goes. And then we searched the same for Amazon as well to compare and figure out what kind of the experience is like. The first realization was that there's a lot of info on the Rakuten website. Now, in case for a Japanese perspective, I think that's a good thing. For personal perspective, it's unnecessary information that just makes me like distracted and frustrated. Their improvements could be in the filtering and searching, because when we searched black pants, there was not a lot of good black pants, or like we didn't really get what we were looking for. And although there was like the filtering was there and there was a wide variety of filtering, it was still very unusable. Yeah, that's what we concluded.
And if you were part of the team, and I would like to manage implementing these changes, how would you? What recommendations would you?
I would tell them to not just look at the keywords, for example, black and pants, because we found products that had black put into the product, which was not even black, and that way, like that kind of deceives the users. So I would say use more than just keywords. Maybe use image, like recognize the color of the pant by using object recognition or something like that.
Yeah, and there's some sort of great ideas, and thank you for sharing that analytical and critical thinking. This is a good exercise to like practice those skills. Thank you.
All right, so we have a couple of solutions. So basically, our approach was going to be very classic, or my perspective was we have to definitely change the design because it is very cluttered. But then talking with my team, I noticed that I am not their target audience, right? And starting with that empathy and that awareness is where we, started our like brainstorming session. So what's working is they know their target audience. They have like super deals, and their whole idea is to like simulate the shopping experience of like a supermarket. But there are definitely things that we can improve. There's too much information. We understand that they want to be clear about what they're selling, but it's too cluttered to the point where even Tsuyoshi, our like native Japanese colleague here, he's like, it's too much for me. We definitely need, the fonts are too small, the pictures are very low quality. If we could have some sort of video, let's say you click on an item and then the upper half of the website is a video of someone using the product where you can like project yourself into that person. And then you're like, oh, okay, then I'm gonna buy it. And then have some deals. Also something that we came up with is like a buying streak. So let's say you sign up, you use a website like 4 days in a row. Because you use the website 4 days in a row, you get a discount or you get 10 points. This would be to like keep that loyalty with the customers. And then last but not least, for first timers, we give them a first time coupon, like in Zozo Town. Like if you sign up for the first time, they give you up to 8,000 yen discount. So we could do that. We communicate like, hey, we appreciate that you're trying something new. We understand that it's kind of risky for you. We appreciate it. Here's the discount. If someone is a returning customer, we appreciate your loyalty. Here is the 10 points or whatever. And that's it.
So if I were
the target audience is ladies.
I have a question.
Target audience is in their 40s and 50s, and also people who have a lot of time. And it simulated the shopping experience because shopping is all about discovery. Mm-hmm. When you walk in a soup, or when you walk in a, it's not, I was gonna say department store. There's a lot of things to discover. When Rakuten simulates that experience online. And so they did that very well.
That's it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, so our group looked into Rakuten page and was working. Yeah, the search brings a lot of stuff. I mean, positively also related to what we search for. But then a little more on the improving side, as it's been said, too much information. Everything is in one page, a lot of scrolling. For me, I basically get a headache looking at it, but that's probably because I'm not Japanese and definitely not the target group. The search at the same time it brings related products, but we really want to pinpoint and search for a search, like the example was here, black pants. I mean, we would like to see only that, but it brings a lot of other stuff and it makes it really messy. And one big thing actually was like when we tried to check out and go into the cart, and then basically not finding the cart, we had to scroll hugely through all the ads and finding what we are about to buy. So we definitely have an idea solution for improvement to have the possibility to see immediately the cart and then some ads on the side maybe. And then another thing in practice, we tried to then quickly go back to the home page, but we didn't find any go back button. Not even the Rakuten logo worked as a button to jump from. So basically that was best, and the rest of the solution is just to fix this. But as said, probably most of us we are not the target group. So.
All right, thank you.
So I thought you guys did a really great job analyzing like that, like a business. And I saw there's a lot of freelancers, and you can even do that in your own practice when you have a customer, because communication it's like a part where many people struggle. and writing down like what's working, what's to improve, and some potential solutions. It's just ideas, and that helps to engage with your clients to say, "Hey, I noticed that this is working, but this is not, and this is one way to do it really cheap and effective and really fast." That's just one method of many, but I hope you guys found this activity useful. Okay, so we did together inspiration. So we're observing how people utilize a product, service, or something from a company. Then we move to ideation, where we get together as a team and discuss ideas. And then the last part, but not least, is implementation. We don't have the time for that type of activity, but usually what it looks like, that's where prototyping happens. Like you build something called minimum viable product for the company so they can test it with potential consumers. And sometimes it involves getting engineers in your team and building something that is not the final product, but just the features that you want to test. All right, so this is just photos of what the real world looks like in my work. We have whiteboards and we kind of map how products work. As you can see, it's not artistic or aesthetic. We have to be really fast, and we prioritize problem solving over beautiful, because it's all about like communicating that information to the company and to the client. Okay. So, and as you can see, this process of ideation and inspiration requires to talk to people, because everyone has their own ideas, own perceptions, and like the offline teams mentioned, it's not for Rakuten is not for maybe the targeted audience, which is probably us Westerners. So it's very different, and it involves to bring people from different cultures and backgrounds to bring those ideas together. Okay, so what happens when you move from design to design thinking? Honestly, design thinking really brings people together, and more companies, and even like solo ones, they're doing a lot of things together. And the impact that you make is world impact. So the implementation would look like Google implementing AR into their maps, so you can see the arrows, and that's pretty cool. UNICEF targeting like maybe poverty in like with children across the world, and they're creating technology to solve those issues. Maybe automated cars that it's changing too. It's like a revolution. We have self-driving cars, but we have to design like the interface of how people are going to communicate with the car. We see that in the universe. When I was doing my competition with NASA, we had to think, well, there's no GPS in another planet. How can we communicate with a robot like from Earth to another planet? So we have to come up with those ideas and think really complex. So activities like this, like practicing with e-commerce, may seem really small, but like the more you practice, the more you can solve more complex and more challenging problems with your team. So there's no like, I can do it by myself. And in the end, you have one team mentioned it really, and it's very true. It's all about empathy, because these products, people are engaging with that. And when you go out there, whether you're working for a company or you're by yourself or you're a student, you're creating products and solutions that help people. And you shouldn't treat people like data points. They're giving you feedback on how you can improve. So it's kind of like practicing that gratitude of thank you for understanding like how can you better use your data or improve your service. Also, like I know might be some various questions on implementation, so after this event I can stay on the chat to target some of those questions. And then just remember, design thinking is a tool to solve problems and create changing innovations to impact the world. And I just show you a small piece of it if you're interested on how to actually like get your hands on it from inspiration to prototype. There's a lot of many free courses where you can try to learn that skill and then apply it to your personal life or to your company. And speaking of companies, there's so many benefits, but I pick only three. So for companies implementing design thinking, it actually increases organization productivity, meaning that employees are working faster, more efficiently because they're communicating and actually building something. And also it focuses on the problem through empathy because like many companies are caring how people engage with the product. So if people are happy, they're coming back to that experience. And finally, it meets clients' requirements. Design thinking saves a lot of money and time because as you're building prototypes that are just the minimum viable product, it's you don't have if it doesn't work, then your time and money didn't go to waste. Yeah, I think that's it. I just really wanted to thank you guys for your time. That time is really valuable in your life. So thank you for giving me that 1 hour and 35 minutes. I really appreciate it. I hope you got something out of this. And if you need more ideas or information, I'm happy to connect and guide you through some more information or resources.
Thank you very much, Karen. Can we have one last clap for Karen, please? Thank you.